Hello lads, lassies, and those of unspecified gender, it's the Irishman here, and today I'm going to be covering a topic that revolves around Naruto. I am a bit unfamiliar with making videos about this certain anime, but I have had practice before, so hopefully it does turn out pretty well. This specific topic I haven't seen being covered by many YouTubers before. It's what if Naruto had killed Sasuke? A lot of people like to switch this around, being what if Sasuke killed Naruto, since he certainly had the opportunity, but personally I find this to be much more entertaining, since if Sasuke killed Naruto, the series would just be over, but if it was the other way around, well, that's more interesting. Yeah, sure, the series would have continued, Sasuke would have eventually killed Itachi, but after that I can't see much else happening, and he might not have actually gotten to the point where he'd be able to even fight Itachi because of Deidara and Sasori. If Sasori had never died because Sakura would never have fought him, then, well, Deidara would have backup for the Sasuke fight. And I mean, not saying Sasori and Deidara together could beat pre-Itachi fight Sasuke, but I'm saying the two of them could beat pre-Itachi fight Sasuke. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Really, what we're covering today is actually Naruto killing Sasuke, and the only way I can really see this happening, well, I guess you'll have to wait a few seconds to find out, while I let my avatar fade out of view. Now, in the Valley of the End fight, Naruto actually had a distinct disadvantage against Sasuke. The only times he really got power-ups was when the Ninetales was feeding him chakra. So naturally, the only way I can see him actually getting so on top he kills Sasuke is by getting a Ninetales amp so large that he actually overpowers Sasuke enough to where it damages him to a fatal degree. The Ninetales will be doing this kinda just to mess with Naruto. Kurama, he's awesome and all, but he was kind of a jerk to Naruto in the original series, which, given all the backstory, actually kinda makes sense. Now, after the Chidori and Rasengan clash, Naruto, well, he didn't immediately kill Sasuke, he's not dead yet, but he does have fatal injuries and a large puncture wound on his chest. He's alive enough to where he's able to breathe and talk, but not alive enough to where he's going to be making it out of this fight. Seeing Sasuke having the Curse Mark II completely drained from his body and a large puncture wound on his chest, Naruto would rush over all of the parts of the Ninetales, completely washing off of his face, and then he would try and see if Sasuke could be helped. But he would notice that he's nearly dead and barely breathing. Sakura and Kakashi would arrive moments later and see Sasuke in this fatal condition. Although Sakura would still rush over and try to help him, Sasuke would say that's futile and that she should just let him die. He cares for her deeply, but there's nothing she can do. Please just let him pass, although there is a favor he needs to ask of her and of Naruto. Sasuke would ask, no, he would beg, that Naruto take his eyes and kill Itachi, get revenge for the Uchiha clan, and do what Sasuke never could in his life. Sasuke would say that if Naruto is really his comrade, really his friend, really someone that cares about him, then he will take his eyes and fulfill this request. And then, he would give one dying breath as Sakura would begin to remove his eyes. With tears in her eyes, Sakura would begin the transplant after Naruto accepts, and Kakashi would look on, asking what cruel game fate's playing in making history repeat itself in front of him like this. After the eye switch is done, Naruto now has the Sharingan, which would then evolve into Mangekyo, and even Rinnegan, seeing as Indra and Ashura Chakra are mixing. Kakashi is amazed and terrified. The power he is letting off is not only darker than anything he has seen in Naruto, but also stronger than anything he had seen, period. The Ninetales, taking advantage of Naruto's weakened mental state, would be letting in more chakra and power than he had at any point in the past, letting him go into one-tailed state, two tails, three tails, even the four tails, and eventually he's gone into the fifth-tailed state. Naruto isn't able to control the power he's letting off, but eventually would crash, falling unconscious from the amount of energy he had let off. The seal was weakened so much, Kakashi actually has to use a decent amount of his chakra to reinstate the seal, making sure it didn't break while Naruto was asleep. Kakashi thanks the heavens that Naruto didn't unleash the Ninetales, because if that happened, then both he and Sakura would be dead, and there was nothing Kakashi could have done to stop that. Kakashi would bring the unconscious Naruto and lifeless body of Sasuke back to the village, with Sakura by his side. They put Naruto in a hospital bed and Sasuke in a grave while they wait for Naruto to wake up, hoping that he doesn't lash out again, cause if so, it will take all 2 of the legendary Sannin, Orochimaru wouldn't help, and Kakashi to actually possibly be able to save the village from the Nine-Tails. Naruto would wake up to see Jiraiya by his side, and Jiraiya would be the one to reassure him of the bad news that Sasuke has indeed passed. Naruto would be able to control his Rinnegan and wouldn't have it activated at the time, but Jiraiya would hear the news that he has the Alcalere Dojutsu and would immediately know that he has to train him to make sure that he can wield that ability, and he would get flashbacks to Pain or Nagato. He would also have to make sure that Naruto can control the Nine-Tails, because if he can't, then he is a massive threat to everyone around him. Kinda like that time he killed Sasuke. Yeah, that wouldn't be good. Before they set off on their training journey, Naruto would have one question for Jiraiya: if they can go and kill Itachi once they're done. And Jiraiya would be shocked, but then realize what's happened and why he is asking this. He would say that to kill Itachi Uchiha, he will have to train extra hard, and it might not even be possible, but if Naruto's willing to put in the effort and wield his abilities that he's been gifted to their fullest, then yeah, sure, they can try and kill Itachi. Naruto would be jumping for joy after hearing this and immediately agreed to train with Jiraiya the second he's out of the hospital. One day, after a year had passed since being in the hospital, Naruto had been training with Jiraiya, like he had any other day. But then, they get an unexpected visitor: Itachi Uchiha. Itachi is practically foaming at the mouth. He is incredibly enraged and mad beyond belief. He is insanely bloodlusted and ready to kill both of them right there and then. He would immediately activate his Susanoo and then try and strike them down with a Totsuka blade. Naruto and Jiraiya are both barely able to dodge and have no idea what's going on. As soon as Itachi heard the news that his brother had died, at the hands of one of his comrades no less, he knew what he had to do. He knew that he had to go and avenge his brother. Even though it's not the most Itachi-like move, he is blinded by rage. He knew that it had to have been an accident, that Naruto would never actually go out of his way to hurt his brother, but none of that mattered. Nothing that was keeping Itachi to his sanity, keeping him tied to what made him himself, mattered anymore. The reason that he had killed his entire family, gone against his village and become a missing nin, joined the Akatsuki for God's sakes, none of that mattered because the reason he had done that is gone. So now, Itachi, all he wants is revenge, and he's not going to stop until he gets it.